And it's a lot about that TV show, man, that got people confused. Because I live with my grandma. You know, we'll go to the house on like a weekend. They'll say, hey, we shooting today. We need y'all at the house. They'll come get me from my grandma's house. And right after we done, when the cameras go off, I'm right back to my grandma's house.
After a while, it became easy. Like, I'm a person who is kind of like numb in a situation. That's why I'm saying I'm not in tune with my feelings. Like, even me saying my mom, she was on the road and stuff, like, I became numb with being at my grandma's house. And it's just like, this is what it is. So after a while of me being hurt and like, oh, I want my family and I want this to work out. It's like, even my mom and my dad, I learned at a young age, everything don't work out. It doesn't have to go as planned.
So my dad went on a podcast and told the world about my virginity. I'm still pretty upset with him about it. I'm not gonna be able to like really get through to him, like connect how I need to.
But then you need to try to though.
He always plays big, honestly. So like,
are you angry?
I just don't really care to be around him right now. I'll be a better parent. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad parent.
No, we get it.
But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to stuff like this, I'm just gonna be more connected mentally, emotionally, all of that. So.
Tiny's children and T.I. are constantly involved in various activities, and it doesn't appear that it will slow down anytime soon. As they grow older, these children often begin blaming their parents for their own development and struggles. At 24, Tiny's daughter Zonique, who spent most of her time outdoors, became the third unwed mother to a man with 3 children from 2 other women. Not to mention King Harris, a man-child who is quickly becoming a threat to society with his reckless behavior. To top it off, this 20-year-old who can't even tie his own shoes is suddenly expecting a child of his own. It seems Tiny and T.I. were never truly present for their children, leaving them to navigate situations they were ill-prepared to handle. This lack of guidance may be contributing to their ongoing challenges and poor decisions.
For those who don't understand, Chip had some infidelities with a girl who I hired, and that girl is one of the reasons why I got my own house.
Tiny and T.I.'s relationship is now one for the record books. After nearly 20 years, they are still together, despite having experienced every possible hardship a couple might encounter. However, because of their complexity, they aren't often regarded as a couple goal. In the rap world, T.I. is highly regarded as a bona fide hitmaker. Women were smitten with him, and he never turned them down. However, it went beyond simply ending his relationships with these women. With them on his arm, he exuded confidence as he was spotted around town with them, despite being in a high-profile marriage with children. T.I. was allegedly spotted with Love Season 1 winner Nikki Hoops in nightclubs, while Tiny was at home getting ready to have their second child. T.I. and Hoops were reportedly close, according to the video vixen who witnessed them. And things got a bit strange when Hoops started making advances toward her. T.I. is said to have approached the vixen as they were about to leave, asking her to accompany him back to his home for some 3-way fun. In 2006, Tiny had a stillbirth, and many believed that the stress of T.I.'s incessant infidelity, when he should have been by her side, affected both her and their unborn child. However, Tiny remained loyal to her partner, not only allowing him to live his life as he pleased, but also joining him in it. According to rumors, T.I. and Tiny would host parties where guests had to partake in drugs like cocaine or Molly, often inviting other women to join in. These parties reportedly included orgies, often with D-list Instagram personalities, though some celebrities occasionally joined in. Despite these rumors, Tiny and T.I.'s bond endured, with their complex relationship still going strong after all these years.
T.I. Hot.
Yes. One time he and Tiny invited me over for dinner.
I'm sure they did.
Oh, I was quite flattered.
They were like,
Why didn't you
guess
go?
what's for dinner, you bitch?
But something is always going to leak out or go wrong when you conduct things like this behind closed doors. When things got out of control, some of the girls involved were allegedly paid by T.I. and Tiny to keep quiet, even though they were friends or business associates. Their entire situation was blown up by Sabrina Peterson.
My husband put a gun to my head after me looking out for you on several occasions. You are the battered woman. I'm saying you're the woman that's always somewhere crying. You're the one that's always being cheated on. You're the one, I'm saying, but you're the one that wants to go run to your friends and tell them what he did wrong in X, Y, and Z. And I was so young, I did not know. I didn't know to not listen to a woman when she's going crazy and crying about her relationship. The only thing I knew is that my friend was going through X, Y, and Z, and I jumped like the dumbest I was. But the facts do remain the same. And if so I've let this go because it's so freaking old. This is so old, but this is a part of my trauma. This is a part of my truth. This is so old that he went on to make songs about it and so forth and so on. That same silver gun that was on the table when he was arrested, that one silver revolver with the long nose on it was the gun that he put to my head, screaming, "Child kill you, child kill you." So my PSA today is about me speaking about my past trauma, what I went through. That's my truth. That is my truth. Your daughter was there to witness it. His sister Precious, rest in peace, was there to witness it. And many other children.
Rob Kardashian made a similar statement regarding his baby mama China's three-way relationship with Tiny and T.I. However, it was China's allegations that the pair had abused other women, coerced them into using drugs, and engaged in strange behavior that really got people talking. Additionally, Tiny would become envious and beat these women severely if T.I. was having too much fun with one of them, with T.I. watching. Tiny would also leave the women open to Tiny's actions if they tried to defend themselves or retaliate. Sabrina wasn't merely making these revelations for no reason. She brought several receipts from women who described their experiences at T.I. and Tiny's home. Furthermore, the couple was sued by 12 women for sexual assault and drugging them at parties. I am aware that they have been together for a long time, but based on the bizarre experiences they have shared, it seems they may have simply developed a trauma bond. Tiny had to hold it down for T.I. during his time in prison, trying to purchase 3 machine guns for reasons unknown. She made sure their children and family were taken care of, but by the time he was released, the two of them had reverted to their old messy drama. After ecstasy was discovered in their vehicle, T.I. and Tiny were arrested in West Hollywood. Tiny claimed it was hers, but T.I. failed a test administered by the federal government. For breaking the terms of his probation, he was sent back to jail for an additional 11 months. He was eager to return to his previous role as head of the family and to make all the decisions when he was released. However, Tiny had changed during his absence.
Found my own voice. He was used to saying, okay, no, we're doing this, we're moving this way, and I'd be like, okay. But when he came home, he'd say, we're moving this way, and I'd be like, well, no, I got this to do, and he's like, that's not the way, it wasn't what he was used to. He was used to controlling things.
Wait a minute.
And, having things his way at all times. But once I got on my own 2 feet, I felt like I should have a voice too. Yeah. And that voice, it was a little different from what he was used to. Right. So that, to me, is what caused the issue. Wasn't because I'm just being outlandishly disrespectful. Because if you recall, you could not move, you could not go anywhere. I was still in the house, like I was on probation, doing all the things. But because I had a voice that was not so timid, like to me, this is my perspective. This is my outlook on it.
Oh no, she had evolved and she had finally found her voice because she had to step up, and baby, T.I. did not like that at all. They started having issues, and instead of fixing them, T.I. was diving headfirst into some new honey walls, baby. He got with Bernice Burgos and was allegedly messing with some members of T.I.'s girl group French Kiss, which ultimately led to the group being disbanded. Now, let's be clear here. Tiny has had her own rotation of both men and women. And of course, hers was more low-key than T.I.'s because, he cannot take half of the things that he dishes out in their relationship. The one time he thought she was spreading her legs for a man, Floyd Mayweather showed up in Vegas like an angry bird and started tearing stuff up. Ciao. And the kids had to watch all of this foolishness go down. T.I. and Tiny were so caught up in each other's lives that they never really had time for the kids. I mean, their own drama was enough to keep them more than occupied. Yeah, T.I. and Tiny gave their kids a good life and could afford more than most, but money ain't everything when it comes to being a good parent. The kids were always at their grandparents' house, while the two of them were out doing their own thing. T.I.'s sister Precious, who passed away in 2019, was basically Major's other mom, and she always had those kids. That was the stability they knew. No, nobody's saying that T.I. and Tiny abandoned their kids, but they definitely neglected them in some aspects in favor of the people and extracurricular activities they had going on in their lives.
I was outside, y'all. I swear I was always outside as a kid. Why? Because when you got parents who, do shit in the industry, you know how y'all try to make it seem like, celebrity kids, they just got the best lifestyle. Our parents, I ain't never seen them. I ain't never seen my parents. I ain't even seen my parents. Let's just call it out. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, these folks busy. They busy. And now that I'm older, I don't even, I don't care about it.
Even King Harris's entire hood persona comes from growing up with his grandmother, and he has always been pretty vocal about his parents abandoning him in his eyes.
He know that. Hey, no, he capping. Hey, he know I stand on business. He know that. Hey, no ever pull my car ever in life. I stand on business. You drop me somewhere, I stand on business. You drop me in your hood, I stand on business. I don't feel like you stand on business. Yeah. I've been stood on business. I've been stood on business. You want to hide it for the world, I'm going to put it out there for them to see. I want to put up nowhere. You ain't had me put up nowhere. Like, you ain't had me behind the mansion. I was outside doing what I wanted to do.
Folks do have something to say about how T.I. and Tiny have been parenting their children. Quote, T.I. is a terrible dad, but Tiny is also a terrible mom and horrible stepmom as well. They are a bad parent dynamic duo. Another quote, T.I. and Tiny and real black love shouldn't even be in the same sentence. And yet another, I knew that show was fake. You could tell they weren't really around each other that much. The daughter always looked real uncomfortable around all of them. But do y'all think T.I. and Tiny's kids are tripping about their parents neglecting them? Or are they right to speak out? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't you dare click off before sharing your thoughts in the comments. Don't you dare click off before liking and subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye, baddies.